Hey everybody, welcome to Yoga with Janice and Julie, and I want to introduce to you to my amazing yoga instructor, Julie Lemerond, and she has over 10 years of yoga experience. So please enjoy this awesome yoga flow that we are bringing to you today.
So we will be starting in child's pose. So just bringing your hips back to your heels, your arms out in front of you, and just relax your forehead on the mat. And just begin to connect a little deeper with your breath, letting the breath fill your whole belly. And as you exhale, gently feel the navel pulling back towards the spine. Just feel yourself settling into your body and just dedicating this time to your practice. And now on your next inhale, I want you to walk your hands over towards that top right corner of your mat, just lengthening the whole left side of your body. Maybe even placing that left hand on top of the right. And just continuing to breathe. And then on your next inhale, you can walk the hands back through center over to the other side, lengthening that whole right side body from the hip all the way up to the hand. Good. And then again, just bring the hands back to center. Maybe walk the fingertips out just an extra inch or two. And then on an inhale, you're going to pull yourself up to tabletop. So making sure that you get your knees right in under your hips and your hands under your shoulders. Good. And then take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, round your spine up into cat. And just give yourself a few breaths here, maybe a little movement side to side, just waking up the spine. And then as you inhale, letting the belly drop down and the tailbone curl up, cow pose. And again, take a few breaths here, maybe a little bit of movement. Just let yourself get into your body. And then we're just going to start moving with the breath. So as you exhale, round the spine. And as you inhale, let the belly drop down. And just get into your own rhythm and flow. Take about 5 or 6 breaths here. And after this exhale, just bring yourself back to that neutral spine. So your crown of your head is reaching forward and the tailbone is reaching back. And on your next inhale, you're going to take your right arm up into the air, just a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, weave that arm underneath the left arm, sinking down into a little twist. And you can leave that left hand or walk it forward. And just breathe. And on your next inhale, you can bring yourself back up to tabletop. And we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So on the next inhale, again, just extending that arm up. Exhale, weaving it underneath. Feeling a gentle twist from the navel and feeling the breath put space into your rib cage and torso. And then on your next inhale, just bring yourself back up and out of that, coming back to tabletop. And you can plant the hands down. We're going to curl the toes under, but bring the feet about mat distance apart and exhale, lifting the hips up to downward dog. And just take 10 breaths here. So we can pedal into the heels like you're doing, walking the dog. You can sway side to side or shake your head out. Just spending some time just being here, letting the backs of the legs open. Nice and rooted down through the hands and then lifting up through the tailbone. And just continuing to breathe. Good. So take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, we're going to walk our hands back to meet our feet, keeping the feet nice and wide, and just let yourself hang heavy. You can have a deep bend in the knees, grab opposite elbows, sway side to side. Good. And then keep a bend in that right knee. You're going to let the right fingertips come down to the ground. And as you taking a few nice deep breaths here, and if you want, you can even wrap that left arm behind your back. Good. And then as you exhale, just unravel and switch sides. Nice deep bend in that left knee, opening up the right side body. And same thing, if you'd like, you can wrap that arm or you can just leave it up in the air. Good. As you exhale, again, just unravel. Take an extra breath here, just hanging heavy, letting the torso just fold over the lower body. And then releasing your hands down, you can walk yourself back out to downward dog and just leave the feet wide once again. Take a breath here. And then on your next inhale, you can pull yourself forward to plank, leaving the feet kind of wide. And as you exhale, slowly lower on down. You're always welcome to drop the knees down as you do this if you need. And then inhale, coming through a little cobra here. Take a breath or two. And then curling the toes under, exhaling back to downward dog. Good. And then you can walk your feet in a little bit closer to that regular downward dog stance. If you'd like, take one leg up in the air at a time and just bend the knee, open the hip, circle it around. And just doing that with both legs. So once you're done with this one, let the other one float on up. Good. And then just lowering that leg down, you can look forward towards your hands and just walk on up to the front of your mat. Let yourself hang heavy in a forward fold here. And again, you can always have a little bend in the knees. Good. On your next inhale, gently roll up. Take your time. Arms can come all the way up and overhead. And then on an exhale, just let the hands seal together at your heart. Good. Take a few nice deep breaths in, maybe even letting the eyes close, really feeling rooted to the ground below you through the feet, as well as rising up through the crown of the head. Good. On your next inhale, arms can come back up and overhead. And then as you exhale, fold over the legs, coming into a forward fold. And your hands can come to your shins. Take an inhale and lengthen. And then exhale, fold back, bend the knees, and step your right leg back to a lunge. Good. And just settle in here, rock a little front and back, making sure that left knee is right over the foot. It looks really good. And then go ahead. So dropping your back knee down onto the mat. Good. And then on your next inhale, letting the arms come up and overhead. And a few breaths, reaching high and just sink into that front leg. Nice. And then exhale, take your hands down to either side of the foot and let your hips start to sink on back, straightening into the front leg. Good. And just a few breaths here, maybe letting the hips sway a little side to side, not forcing anything. Good. And then just walking the hands back forward. Let that right hand stay down and exhale your left arm up into the air. Nice. As you exhale, taking that hand down, straightening the back legs, stepping on back to downward dog. Beautiful. 3 breaths. Walk it out. And then on your next inhale, we're going to pull forward to plank. And as you exhale, chaturanga, keep the elbows in by the ribs. Nice. As you inhale, come through cobra. Give yourself an extra breath here. And then exhale back to downward dog. Beautiful. So go ahead, look forward, walk on up to the front of your mat once again. Just coming back to a forward fold. Wiggle your toes, hang heavy, sway around. Let your body be loose. And then on your next inhale, again, just roll up one vertebrae at a time, arms coming all the way up and overhead. And just exhaling, hands together at your heart. Very nice. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. As you inhale, arms can float back up. And as you exhale, just hinge at the hips and fold forward. Good. Hands can come to your shins. Just take an inhale, lengthening the spine. Then as you exhale, fold, bend the knees, and take that left leg back to a lunge. And same thing, just settle in here, rock a little front and back. Good. And then drop that back knee down, nice and stable through that front leg. Inhale, arms can come up and overhead. And just take a few breaths, reaching tall, but then sinking into that front leg. Good. And as you exhale, hands can come down on either side of the foot. Take a breath in and then let the hips sink on back. And same thing, just bring yourself to wherever your body gets here. Maybe move a little bit within this. Good. And then on your next inhale, walk the hands back forward. Plant that left hand down and exhale the right arm up into the arm. Nice. And then exhale, release. You can straighten that back leg and again, just step on back to downward dog. Good. And once again, on an inhale, you're going to pull yourself forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Very nice. Coming through cobra, give yourself an extra breath here. And then we're going to take a little child's pose break. So you can sink your hips back to your heels. Just take 5 breaths. Forehead on the mat. And deep breaths into the whole body. Good. Plant the hands down once again. Curl the toes under. And on an exhale, back to downward dog. And then we're going to look forward and either walk or hop on up to the front of the mat. Good. Again, you can just inhale, roll up, taking your time, arms coming all the way up and overhead. And then hands back to heart center. Beautiful. So let's take our hands to our hips and then step your right leg back. We're going to come to a wide-legged forward fold facing, yep, there we go. So your toes are kind of facing towards the front. Hands can stay at your hips here. Just take a deep breath in. Let your heart open a little bit. And as you exhale, just hinge and fold. Nice. And then you can just relax your hands on down to the mat. Let yourself just hang heavy here and bend into one knee at a time. Just play around getting into your body. Good. And then take your right hand, place it just right underneath your gaze. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, let that left arm float up into the air. Beautiful. And if you want, you can wrap that arm behind your back or you can just leave it as it is. Another nice little twist here, continuing to breathe. And then as you exhale, unravel and just switch sides. So the left hand comes down, exhaling, right arm up. Same thing, you can stay put or wrap that arm if you'd like. Good. Again, on an exhale, unravel. Let yourself just hang heavy here. You can grab opposite elbows. If you want, you can clasp your hands behind your back and extend them overhead, only if that works for your shoulders. Good. And release the hands back down. And we're actually going to take our hands to the hips, come up slowly, reaching through the crown of the head. Very nice. And then we're going to turn our right toes out, bend that front knee and come into warrior two. So opening your arms out to the sides, looking over that right hand. Beautiful. And then go ahead, flip your right palm, inhale up and back, reversing the warrior. Good. As you're reaching back here, straighten that front leg. And then as you exhale, just reach out through the right hand, taking that hand down to the shin or maybe the floor, coming into triangle pose. And that left arm can be straight up, or if you want to go deeper, you can reach it up and overhead. Very nice. Good. And then next time you inhale, just bring yourself back up. You can leave both legs straight. Flip the right palm again, and again, just inhale up and back. And then as you exhale, just take the hands back to your hips. We're going to turn the right toe in, or toes in, and turn the left toes out. Good. So same thing on the other side. You might want to turn the right toes in just a little bit more, and then coming into warrior two. So bending that left knee, arms open. Good. And then go ahead, flip that left palm, inhale up and back. And take an extra breath, and then straighten that left leg. And as you exhale, reach out in front of you, sinking down into triangle pose. Again, hand to shin or floor, right arm up, and if you'd like, you can reach that arm up and overhead. Beautiful. And then next inhale, again, just bring yourself back up, flipping the left palm, reaching up and back. Nice. And then this time as you exhale, bend into that left knee again, come through warrior two and swivel yourself on down to a lunge and step on back to downward dog. Nice. 5 breaths. Again, you can walk the dog, you can shake your head out, or you can just be still. And one more time here, just a little flow through plank and chaturanga. So inhaling forward, exhale as you lower. Come through cobra, maybe taking an extra breath here. And then on an exhale, once again, just sink the hips back to the heels, find child's pose. And just breathe, enjoy this little break. And from here on your next inhale, just pull yourself up to tabletop. We're just gonna drop our hips to the side and swing our legs around out in front of us. So we'll come into butterfly here. So you can have your feet together and knees open, and that can either be a big diamond shape or have the heels in close to your body, whatever feels right for you. Just holding onto your ankles, and then as you exhale, just gently starting to fold over the legs, making sure that you keep the spine nice and long. Good. And just take about 5 breaths here, letting yourself settle in. Just finding a gentle edge where your body starts to find a little bit of a resistance. And always just letting the breath help you. Good. On your next inhale, you can slowly start to come back up. And we're just going to come onto our back from here, so you can get yourself centered in the middle of the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. If you'd like, you can take happy baby, holding onto your feet instead of the knees. And just let yourself rock side to side, the whole spine and back of the head grounded. Good. And then from here, come back to just hugging the knees in. And we're going to keep that right knee in towards our chest and let the left leg walk out in front of us. Good. You can circle that right knee in towards your chest, maybe circling the ankles as well on both feet. Good. And then bend the left leg and put the foot on the ground. You're going to cross your right leg over into figure 4 and just reach through, grab the back of the left thigh, gently hug it in. And again, you can rock a little side to side or just be still. You should have a nice stretch in that right hip. And then just go ahead and release. You can let that left foot come down, release the right leg, and just switch sides, hugging that left knee in, letting the right leg walk forward. And same thing, circling the knee, circling the feet. And then bending that right knee, foot on the ground, crossing the left leg over. Same thing, just reach through, grabbing to the back of that right thigh, hug it in. Again, just letting the breath help you. Good. And again, just go ahead, release. You can hug the knees back in or maybe take happy baby once again. Beautiful. And then let your feet come to the ground. We're going to bring our feet about mat distance apart so the knees are falling in against each other. And you can just let your arms fall wherever is comfortable for you. And then just let the knees fall side to side, windshield wipers here. Maybe take about 5 sets of these, just back and forth. And then just finishing up, your knees can come back to center. And just walk your feet in a little closer and maybe even scoot yourself down a little bit so your hips and heels are a little bit closer to each other. Getting ready for bridge. So arms down by your sides and your feet nice and grounded. Take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, start to let the hips lift on up. Feel like you're pushing your feet down into the ground. And just continue to breathe. Keep soft in your face and your throat. 2 more breaths, maybe letting the hips lift just a little bit more. And on an exhale, just slowly release the hips back down to the mat. And then widen the feet once again and just come back to some of those windshield wipers side to side, releasing the lower back. Good. And then just bring yourself back to hugging the knees into the chest. And you can circle the lower back into the mat a little bit or roll side to side. And then from here, we're just going to simply straighten the legs up into the air. So you can either let your arms rest on the ground overhead or maybe out to your sides, whatever is comfortable. Just letting the blood gently drain from the feet, changing the direction of the circulation in your body. And let your breath really start to slow down here. And take your time as you come out of this, maybe hugging the knees back into the chest, or maybe even taking one more happy baby if you feel like it. And then as you're ready, just letting your feet come down to the ground and walk them out in front of you. Arms can just relax down by your sides with the palms facing up. Shavasana. And just allow yourself to stay here for as long as you need, for as long as you are comfortable. Namaste.